You're muted.
Hey, yo.
There we go.
Hey, yo. It is the pop off. We got two popping people popping off on this Friday right here. You already know it's your boy James Woody right here. You know, Woody, rocking everywhere we rocking on Friday. And you guys know this man. Oh, right here, you guys know this man, Mr.
Yo, what's
Caleb.
the deal? I'm good, man. I am great, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I'm doing well. My predictions seem not prediction as far as the team, but as far as about a certain player, you know, I'm looking like Negro Damas.
Well, hey, I feel like we should just jump in.
Mm-hmm.
That game last night was unbelievable. Right. I didn't even want to watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm still sad about how the Eastern Conference Finals went. So I did not watch it for the first half. But then second half rolled around, and I'm like, oh, these boys stomping on these dudes. All right, yeah, let me see OKC do their thing. And the Pacers just what they always do. I don't understand. Every series they doing the same thing. And it of course ended the same way that seemingly every game ends, with Tyrese Halliburton out here. He made a shot. A clutch shot. I mean, at this point, even me, who I don't want them to win, I hate even looking at them on my television, I will be the first to admit, like, this dude has the clutch gene. He might have like 3 clutch genes. Like, he is as clutch as they come. I'm not sure if there's a player in the league that you can say, what he's done this playoffs. Every series, time and time again.
No, I don't think anybody has done what he's done as far as hitting those clutch shots, game-winning shots when the team needed in one playoff season, year, I should say, or playoff run in history of the NBA. Like, I don't think anybody has done that. Like, not as many. You know what I mean? Of course, others have done it, but I mean, it's like I think every single series up to this point, he's done at least one. And that's crazy. I think he's at 4. I'm almost certain. I think
he's at 5. I think he did it twice.
It could
in
be
the Cavs series.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But again, I mean, like, that's never been done. You know what I mean? It's never been done. So we definitely gotta say that. You know what's crazy is I didn't even watch the game. I was at my goddaughter's graduation. She graduated high school yesterday. Shout out to Haley. And so I was there, and I would just look, at my ESPN app and just see what the score was. And every time I looked, the Pacers were down by 9. Then it got to 12. Then it got to 15. I was like, okay, they'll probably lose. I expected them to lose. I'm not even tripping. Like, you know what I mean? I'm watching the kids and all that. I'm laughing at the kids giving their speeches. I'm like, y'all don't know shit about life. You know what I mean? I'm having a good time. Then I get to the end of the game, and inside the arena where we were, it didn't have good service, right? So I would get stuff, it was spotty. So I get outside in my phone, I'm getting buzz, different ones of my friends. And I'm thinking they're clowning like, you always talking Halliburton. He ain't do shit, right? That's what I'm expecting to see. They like, did you see it? I'm like, no. They're like, they won. I'm like, what? No, right? So I immediately go to the app, and they show Halliburton last. And I'm like, oh! So I play it. I got to see the clip. And I'm happy, but I'm laughing because I'm like, I done told y'all, right? Like, I said, look, I told my friends, I said, he may not be a superstar, because they're like, he's not a superstar, right? I said, but he sure comes through like one. And they're like, damn. Like, I'm like, you can say he's not a superstar, but he comes through like one. He comes through like one, right? And it's like, you're right. They call it a gene. And I think that is the best description of it, because it's something that they have that others do not. Ones that are willing to take the shot and accept what comes with it, but they believe they can make it. You know what I mean? As opposed to passing it off. And I'm not talking about passing it off when you're double covered or something, right? I'm talking about passing it off when you could take it, but you're like, nah, hot potato. Right? That that to me is where the gene comes in. And for whatever reason, as unorthodox as he may look, the way his game is, I get it. It ain't smooth. SGA is the smoothest, man. Listen, it's like silk when he plays, but he missed. That shot would have put them up by 3, right? No, they were up 110. Yeah, it would have been 3.
Yeah.
So Halliburton would have had to hit a 3. Not I'm not saying he wouldn't have hit it, but I'm just saying it wouldn't have been for the win. It would have been for a tie, right? SGA misses and he doesn't. And it's like, and I'm not no shade against SGA. I think he's dope. But what I mean is it's like, that's the thing. Like, those are the moments that elevate people. That's what was the difference between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, who Peyton Manning was the better quarterback. But Tom found a way to win in games when they needed it. And Peyton seemed to always end up on the losing side more often than not. You know what I mean? So so one is remembered differently than the other. And of course, all the Super Bowl rings. So, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is I'm just talking about coming through when you need it versus not, no matter how good the game has been, right? Like up to that point. So, you know, it's that, and he seems to do it. Do I think they're gonna win? I really don't. I honestly, because one of my friends was like, "Oh my gosh, like they could end up winning." They could. I doubt it. I think it's maybe closer to the Sixers-Lakers series, back with the iconic AI step back 3, stomp over my man, Tyronn Lue, and then it was curtains. Then it was 4 games straight. Right? Like it could be something like that, right? Because the Pacers are very inconsistent, right? So definitely. and the Thunder's no joke. They may have lost last night, but I don't expect them to lose the next game. If they were to go down 2-0, then I think we're going to start having a completely different conversation. But I don't think so. So, you know, I'm seeing it. But I was happy. I thought the game was I didn't get to see it, but just from the clips and catching up, I thought it was very well. It's just adds to their mystery. It's like where teams could be like, they're not done. They're not done. Like, they're down by 15, and it gives them confidence, and it puts fear in the team where we got to have them down by 25 to beat these dudes. You know what I mean? So I think we're in for a great series.
I think you just, like, the last couple of sentences you just said, like, is where I'm at. Like, I cannot in good conscience say, you know, OKC is definitely going to win this series. I just can't say, because they can, like, it's like they can't be killed. They can't be killed. The Pacers, whatever, you know, like you said, like the mystery, the mystique, right? It's like, you know, 15 points is nothing. It's nothing to them, and they just chip away. And I think one of the big things is that it's not always the same person. You know, sometimes, you know, Lee Smith hit 8 against the Knicks. But last night it was Obi Toppin. You know, another night it's Andrew Nembhard.
Right.
You know, Siakam. So it actually, in a way, kind of makes them more dangerous. Where, absolutely, you know, if you face, you know, a traditional team, it's like, oh, all right, we down 15. You know, keep SGA out of it, and, like, you know, force the other dudes to do things. But that play don't work against the Pacers.
No, so that's real. Sort of
it's like so yeah, I can't even I just can't even believe this team. I can't believe this Pacers team.
No, and I think you bring up a really good point, because that's what the 04 Pistons had when they were able to beat the Lakers, right? Is like Shaq and Kobe weren't on the best of terms at the time. So I think that had a lot more to do with it, because just if a man contributed to my divorce by snitching on me on national TV, even though I know I was doing it, you telling it? I may not be in the best mood to play with you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I'm gonna give it that. But no takeaway from the Pistons. Chauncey Billups,
Rip Hamilton,
Tayshaun Prince, the Big Ben. All of these dudes. It was a collective. some night Rip Hamilton, some nights Chauncey, some nights Tayshaun Prince would come through. Other nights Big Ben just dominate like
Rasheed Wallace.
Like it was a conglomerate, you know, it was a plethora, as my boy Jefe likes to say. It was a plethora, El Guapo, that they were able to do it. And I think the Pacers are similar to that, which makes it very hard to defend if you don't know who's going to do it. And because of stars in the past, we've gotten accustomed as NBA fans to, okay, he's the man. Oh, no, he's the man. Oh, it's his team. Yes, but when you do that, unless you're Michael Jordan, a Steph Curry who learned how to shoot from so much distance that it, like LeBron, like these different players where they're offensively virtually unstoppable, pretty much you got to commit 2, sometimes 3 players on them to try to get the ball out of their hands. It changes what we think as great. And I'm seeing this team as everybody contributing, and you don't know when to do it. You know what I mean? Like Day said, Day in the next Friday, one of my favorite lines, he said, "Baby D, sell dope and braid hair out the same house. Police don't know when to kick the dough in." Right? It's like you don't know when to come and what to do. And it's so amazing to watch it. But then you have such a clutch player like that guy who may only have 10, 15 points, 13, 16. So you're not thinking he's a threat, and then he come down and do you. Right? So it's like, yo, man, like, and Nembhard, shout out to Nembhard. That defense, he covered SGA one-on-one.
Yeah. And
he gave up at least, because they say SGA is like 6'7". He at least gave up 3 to 4 inches and was able to like really mess up his shot. Because SGA wanted to drive, and Nembhard was able to stop him. And because the refs were calling the game a certain way, SGA just couldn't go through him because Nembhard wasn't resistant and refs didn't bail him out with a call. So he had to go up when he wasn't ready, and he missed. You know what I mean? So it's like, like you can't, I mean, all the contributions, man, they deserve where they're at. That's what I'm going to say about the Pacers. They deserve where they're at.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work my way up to saying those words myself, but you know, yeah, you know,
like the road they went through.
I feel like they are.
You would be rooting for them if the Knicks had lost to the Celtics, and then the Pacers beat Boston. You'd be like, get him, yeah. You'd be like, you see Halliburton? Did you see Halliburton? You'd be going crazy. You know what I'm saying? You are selective politicking. It's all good though. I get it. Because I wouldn't like a team like that would beat my team. If somebody beat the Eagles and then they go through, no. But if another team beat us and then a team that beat us, another team beats, oh, they're my boys. You know what I mean? Look at Johnny Boy, just mad. Listen, it's only because they beat the Knicks. You know, if the Knicks would have lost to Boston and the Pacers took out Boston, you would be rooting for them right now. Tell me you wouldn't. Don't lie. Tell the truth and shame the devil, as my mama would say. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Johnny Boy responding because he knows. He knows. You know what I'm saying? It's true.
You know, they are the epitome of the saying, you know, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Right.
You know, none of these, like Andrew Nembhard, who definitely deserved his shout out. Like, come on, man. I'm not picking him. You know, come on. Like, he's not top 50 in the league. You know, but none of these guys are. And then just as a unit, they are just annoying, aka good. They are good. They're a good team.
No. Listen, they're good on the verge of being great, based off being what basketball is really supposed to be, a team sport.
True.
Right? So
I'm right here. I'm with this. Yeah.
But again, it's like it's a team thing, and they're showing what it is, and the OKC is the same way. It's just SGA is elevating to a point where it's clear he's the lead singer of the band. You know what I mean? But they definitely are a team as well. What's up, Gene? Can we hear you?
You guys can hear me now, right?
Yep. There you go.
Sure can.
Got it sorted out, guys. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead. You can jump in. We've been talking about the exploits of the notorious Halliburton.
Galliburton.
Oh yeah. He's
listen.
one too. She blonde and everything.
Yo, you know what? I'll tell you what, man.
Everybody off in Indiana.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna surprise some people, man. I'm actually rooting for the Pacers.
Really?
I'm
Why?
actually rooting for the Pacers.
Why? Don't just tell me you so East Coast. Just like,
No, it's not even that. I'll tell you what it is, man.
You want to say you lost to the champs?
Not well, yeah. There's always that, but not really. The underdog story, a little bit. I kind of respect that. There's also this thing where it's almost like Reggie Miller when he would kill us in the 90s, 13 points in like 5 seconds or whatever it was, right?
8 and 6.
You start to, whatever it was. You start to respect. You know, I have respect for them for what they've done, for where they've come from, and you know what? I want to see them finish the story. As much as I hate Halliburton, I respect him at the same time. Like I hated Reggie Miller, I hated Tom Brady, but it was a type of hate where I still respect him. I didn't hate them. I just hated what they did to my team. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm actually rooting for the Pacers. Now I don't think they'll win. Although right. I think they needed to have any shot at all. They needed last night. If they would have lost last night, it would have been over in probably 5. I think they make it a little bit of a series now, and I wouldn't bet my life that they don't win. I still don't think they will. Because listen, the Thunder have lost game 1 so far in this postseason, and they were able to overcome it. I don't see any reason why they can't going forward. Although I do agree. Yesterday, SGA said, "Oh, well, we just got to treat it like another game." And Shaq said after, he's like, "With all due respect, it's not just another game." And I agree with Shaq on that. You got to have some sense of urgency in these games. You might only play 3 more games this season. There's got to be some sense of urgency. So you can't treat it like any other game. You got to treat it like, like it's your last breath. So but I still think they are the team that will end up taking it. But I am rooting for the Pacers.
All right. Well, 2 things on that. So one, on the Shaq thing. See, that's the difference between the old school players, and Shaq is on the verge between old school and the new school era. He was right there where Kobe and LeBron comes to right. So he's right at the edge of it.
He's the bridge.
So, but he's right. Like, that's the difference. New age players, oh, no. It's not serious. It's just a game. No, it's not. Like, that's why the old school players get the respect that they do, because it mattered to them. And new school players don't get the respect because we think it doesn't matter. You got so much money. Who cares? We're just, it's like we're all playing together. It's great that we're all here. It's like, no, trying to crush you. Like, it's not. This is everything. This is the whole point. Why come to the league if it's not this outside of the money, right? Like what are we talking about? It's just another game. So I agree with Shaq and your sentiment on that. But then to the bigger point about rooting for the Pacers. See, if you guys that watch us, y'all know, I'm sure y'all know Gene. He ain't slick. This is what he's trying to do, y'all. This is what Gene's trying to do.
What do you got?
Gene, see, he's not even talking about basketball. Gene saw there was a signing the other day that there's a team in Pittsburgh who just got an ex-quarterback from the Jets. And the Jets' first game is against that said team. With that said quarterback, with new receivers and J.J. Watt and all this. So he's trying to put out good karma so that the good Lord would bless him, that the Jets come through. And with the quarterback from that said team is now on the Jets with the new coach who got rid of that older quarterback to put a new thing together. Gene is doing his best to pacify our great Lord God to make sure that the Jets have good karma. Look at Woody signing himself in the cross. Y'all see it? See, I saw it from the gate. No.
I gotta tell you, we'll talk about Rodgers a little bit. I can't wait to knock out his other Achilles, man. I can't. The ultimate me first guy in all of sports. I couldn't wait for him to leave. He is such a jerk off. Like, he's like, everybody has a guy like Aaron Rodgers in their life that they know, and they're like, this guy's such a fucking douche. He is. I'm glad he's gone. I even love how he made the Steelers wait forever because he didn't want to go to mini camps and everything else, just proving once again me first. It's all about the Aaron Rodgers. Let everyone talk about what I'm going to sign. And meanwhile, I don't have to go to camp. He's such a.
He's about to throw 300 yards and 3 TDs week 1, right?
No. I saw your little post about it, and I got to be honest. I couldn't disagree more.
Hallie Pacers.
No.
I'm gonna say it's Reggie because I was just watching that. Right. All right. Hey, certified. What's up, brother? Hey.
Let me tell you something. Certified Rob didn't want Rodgers at the beginning. Now that he's got him, he's like, oh, he's talking all this crap, but he didn't want him in the first place.
But to answer the question, I think it is Reggie because of the way Reggie did it. Halliburton is nice. Halliburton's nice. He just wants people to respect him and say that he's good. Reggie was doing this shit. He walking over to Spike. He just looking at him, right? He's doing all this. You know what I mean? Reggie actually cared. He cried when Knicks beat him that one time and let the New Yorkers clown him, say he's crying like a sissy girl. And so I think it was way more personal with Reggie. So it was that thing. But this one hurt a lot because a lot of people aren't as old as us and don't really remember the emotion with the Pacers and the Knicks at that time. And, it is that. But this was the Knicks shot. Everybody thought they beat Boston. They were going. The Pacers can't beat them. What are you talking about? Right? And then they did. Right? And so because of that, it's more of a time thing. You know what I mean? Where it's in our head like, yo. So it does hurt. But for me personally, I would say it's Reggie because I was a teenager watching those playoff games.
Yep.
And it was something. And I'm talking about before it was the best out of 7. I'm talking about they were meeting when it was the best out of 5, baby. 3, right? Like where it was a completely different thing. It was way more impetus on these games. Game 1 was everything, right? So 100%. Again, for me, I think it's Reggie, but I think right now, Halliburton is the new Reggie for them. Like, oh my goodness, because of the way that he snatched games from them. Knicks win game 1 of their series, they win that series. Them losing game 1 changed everything. So I think it's just a time thing, but that's just my opinion.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll just be quick. I don't think it's close. I think it's definitely the Reggie Pacers. Mm-hmm. The intensity, the hatred, all that was there. But it's also the length of time. The Reggie Pacers, this wasn't just like, a one-off thing, a two-off thing. Right. It was like 7 years. Like literally 7 years of, my God, like these two teams already in the shadow of the Bulls trying to, make their own way. And, of course, as soon as Michael Jordan retires, who are the next two teams from the East to make it to the finals? The Knicks, then the Pacers. Like, it was, 7 years of that battle, of that animosity. Whereas, for this era right now, we're talking about, two seasons. And to the point of what Caleb and I were talking about before, this is more of a team. Like, yes, Halliburton's one shot, bounced off the rim and went up. But if Aaron Nesmith just misses one of those 6 shots that he takes, like there's enough hate in my heart to go around for these Pacers. But I wasn't like hating. Mark Jackson is a different story. But I wasn't like hating the whole squad as much, like, because Reggie was the face, he was the catalyst. If Reggie was not having a good game, it was not the same as how these Pacers are a team as a unit, right? Are doing the work that they're doing. So I'm gonna say Reggie Pacers by a long shot, and I respectfully disagree, Johnny Boy. Halliburton had nothing to do with the dismissal of Tom Thibodeau.
We'll get into that in a minute because
I disagree with that. But go ahead.
I am on both sides of that. But real quick, I'll agree with you guys too. It's the Reggie Miller Pacers for one main reason for me is basketball was more cold-blooded back then, right? Like teams didn't like each other. Like now everybody's friends, and it's probably because of AAU. They all grew up together, really, right? But back then, everybody could. Kobe was the last of that, like blood, ice water in the veins. Just like I'll step on my grandmother's neck to win a game kind of mentality. And I miss that about basketball. And that's Reggie Miller played during that era. So it was easy to look at Reggie Miller and just be like, I hate this Reggie Miller. With nowadays, it's, you do a little bit still, but it's not to the same extent. But that was, I think, one of the reasons why we also looked at it back then, is because it was pure hatred for rivalry teams, right? Like now it's like, I hate them because I hate their fans. Now it's like, I hate them because I hated them. Or then it was because I hated them because I hated their players. Like right now, I don't really hate anybody on the Celtics. I just hate their fans. I don't really hate anybody on the Pacers anymore. I just hate their fans. Back then, I hated the Pacers. I hated the Bulls. I hated the Heat. It had nothing to do with their fans. So it's kind of come a long way since then too, which is why I kind of agree with you guys on the whole thing. So
I would say this was also then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
personally, I'm in the minority here. I really didn't think he was being too biased for like the first 5 games. Like I thought he was just, calling the game. Like it wasn't like he was like, Knicks suck. Like, what are the Pacers doing? Like, I felt like he was calling it. He was talking about missed calls that would have benefited the Knicks. Like, oh, how did the refs miss? TJ McConnell step out of bounds. I thought, oh wow, and there it is, TJ McConnell right there.
Yeah.
But
shout out to Megan McConnell though, right? You haven't seen Megan McConnell?
No, I have.
Well, then give her a shout out. She's
okay. Well, yes, Megan, congratulations on the Phoenix. All right, I think she made her debut last night.
Yeah,
I have no idea how she performed.
Who cares? I don't really care. She's just cute. That's all. She's just. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, she is not ugly. I will say that she is not.
That's all I'm saying. Do we want to talk about Tibbs at all, though?
Yeah. So okay. I was going to respond to that. I do think, Hallie. Okay. Now in the actual reality sense, of course, Woody, no, he's not. But in the emotional sense, absolutely. Like Halliburton hit the shot that changed everything. Tibbs's his tenure in New York went on that series. When they lost, had they lost to Boston, he would have been gone. Them losing to the Pacers only because they were supposed to win, right? If they were looked upon if it was Boston and them in the finals, he wouldn't have lost his job. If Boston won, he wouldn't have. No, because and I mean ECF, Eastern Conference, he wouldn't have lost his job because they were all right, next year we're gonna try to get Giannis. They would have came up with whatever, KD, all this stuff, right? But because it was the Pacers, they were supposed to win. And then when you have people are starting to really respect the media as far as opinions. When Kenny the Jet Smith comes on national TV and says Tibbs wouldn't play 9 players in a baseball game, it put out publicly the thing everybody was saying internally, right? So then Tibbs tries to change it up, but a little, but not too much. You could tell he didn't really like it. He had players on that team that had he worked a real system with, who knows what the outcome of that series would have been, right? I'm being honest, because when they came in, when they were forced to, because Brunson and Cat had 4 fouls and they had to sit, he had to play. You know what I'm saying? And those players got a chance, and you got to see what they could do. You know what I'm saying? And they shut the Pacers down. They shut them defensively. The Pacers could do nothing, right? But then the next game came, right? And I'm going to say this, and I know Knicks fans hate it when I say it, especially my friends. Brunson is a juggernaut offensively, but a defensive liability. There is a thing that you have to take with it. When he's out there, the Knicks are worse defensively than they are when he's not. But they're worse offensively when he's not there than when he's there. You see what I'm saying? So it's it sucks. And you know who else is? That dude Cat. He's a defensive liability, even though he shouldn't be, but he is. You too damn big to not be able to do nothing on defense like that, But again, that's where the thing is with them. And I think Tibbs just bet on his 2 stars and played them more than maybe what he should have. And I think that's what, and the Pacers exposed it because Woody, like we said, they're a team. So Jim Carrey could put in all kinds of players. You know what I'm saying? He putting in players all the time. Let me show you something. You know what I'm saying? And he putting all these players in there. And I'm telling you, Johnny, listen, I'm not hating. I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have somebody that can put a real rotation in, throwing 10, 12 players at you, and you only throwing 8.
But that's the guy. If you want to say one man got Tom Thibodeau fired, that is the guy, Jim Carrey, aka Rick Carlisle.
Yep.
He outcoached him. He severely outcoached him, and he was able to adjust to Tibbs's adjustments, like you said. So I guess that's where I wasn't saying that, the Pacers series didn't have anything to do with it. Clearly it had something to do with it. But Halliburton having 8 points, 3 points, hit the one shot. I'm gonna give that if I'm giving it to one man as a credit for the firing, I'm giving it to Rick Carlisle, Jim Carrey, who clearly outcoached and adjusted to the adjustments. Jalen Brunson was cooking everybody, but then all of a sudden Andrew Nembhard is there, and he's having a harder time against Andrew Nembhard. Okay. Now the Knicks do the double bigs of Mitch and Cat, but now they're switching pick and rolls and getting Cat just nonstop in pick and rolls where he can't, he doesn't come up. So now they're leaving wide open threes. They kept adjusting to Tibbs' adjustments, and Tibbs only had like 3. He only had like three adjustments, and each one of them worked, right? But that's and that's what I was saying before the season even started. As soon as they made that trade for Karl Anthony Towns, I was like, I'm not sure if this is a Tom Thibodeau roster, because that's what he knows is defense. 2 best players are both immensely gifted offensively and not, at all gifted defensively. This is not a Tom Thibodeau roster. So I was actually campaigning to switch the coach before the season. Now, after the season, we could all say all these different things, but I think with this roster as constructed now, you have a more offensive-minded coach, a coach who believes in his bench. We saw the bench. We saw Landry Shamet hit threes, play good defense. We saw guys come off the bench. So this isn't it's not a situation. Tibbs bamboozled us into thinking that we only had 6 good players.
Yeah,
that series proved that we have like 9.
Yeah, no, that's real.
So give us a coach who can actually build around the talent we have, and I think the Knicks will be balling.
I think if they would have lost round 2 against the Celtics, I think he would have had his job still, and I think that because they weren't supposed to beat the Celtics, right? Like they weren't supposed to get past round 2 this season. Previous years, they should have gotten past round 2. But that leads me to my point of why he got fired. I think it's not because you lost to the 6 seed Pacers this year. It's because you beat the Celtics to get to the 6 seed Pacers this year. And what happened last year? You lost to a lower seeded Pacers team last year. The year before that, you lost to a lower seeded Heat team that year. Every year, the last 3 years at least, they've lost to a lower seeded team in the playoffs. Not a better team than them. Not a team that, it could have gone either way. A lower seeded team that they should have beaten. We went into all these series thinking we were going to go to the next round, right? When we faced the Heat in round 2, we thought, we're going to the conference finals. We faced the Pacers last year. We thought, we're going to the conference finals. Everybody, not just New York media, but a lot of national media thought that was going to happen. This year, it was almost a foregone conclusion. We're going to the finals. And that's not just New York media. It was the national media that also thought that. And so when you lose 3 years in a row to a team that you should have beaten because everybody thought you should have beaten, I think that's what gets a coach fired. And if we look at it, he's one of these coaches that's a great coach to get you some wins in the regular season, to change the culture into a winning culture for an organization. He's a guy that he's a cleaner, right? He's what do they call these guys? Wolves. He's a wolf. He goes in and he cleans up a mess and he leaves it with a good reputation, a good culture. And there's other coaches that do that in other sports too. If we look at baseball, we have Buck Showalter, right? He goes into a team, cleans up the mess, gets them to be a top line franchise, and at that point you realize you can't get over the hump with him, so they move to the next guy. The next guy ends up winning a championship. Mm-hmm. We had a guy in the 80s and 90s in football, Marty Schottenheimer, won a ton of ball games, helped change teams into winning cultures, but just couldn't do it in the postseason. And you know what? I think that Tom Thibodeau is that guy in the NBA. I don't think he'll ever win a title. I think wherever he goes next time, he's going to change a franchise. He's going to go somewhere and fix a franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to one of these. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Washington and turns the Wizards into contenders in 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. He does that. That's what he's done time and time again at all these stops. He's just not the guy to get you over the hump. And now we, as the Knicks organization, not we, but the Knicks organization, they're in that spot now where they need to get the guy that's going to now get over that hump and can do the things that we need to do with the roster we have. That might not even be completely formed because there's going to be some changes probably, this offseason.
Yeah, they have to, because the teams that are performing the best are the teams that can play defense. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm serious. That's funny. Bring Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson
hasn't coached in a while.
It's different. I know he hasn't, but it don't make, you never lose the ability to coach. You know what I mean? It is what you are. But I think they're going to have to really look at how they play defense, because the Pacers are that. The Celtics are that. Even the Celtics play better defense than what the Knicks do. They just lost because the Knicks got a thing with them. And plus, who's to say if Tatum doesn't tear his stuff, if they don't win that, they could have came back and won that game. Even if they didn't, mm-hmm. It's still a thing. I think they got to look at how they're going to play defense though with somebody like Cat. Like, they have to be able to stop teams. They can't let OG go. If you lose OG, it's a wrap. That's one person you can't lose. Like, you need him over there because he's going to rebound and you need Josh Hart. You got to have those scrappy ones. But you got to, those guys, Brunson and Cat are going to have to step up defensively a little bit. Like Cat is going to have to move more. And I know he doesn't have good lateral movement, his feet and his knees. I get it. But he's going to have to figure that out, because that will always be a detriment. Because I think that's where these teams are going now, where they're going to be better defensively, but have people that can all shoot, like the Pacers and like the Thunder. I mean, I get it, but Hurley, hey, listen, if they went to Hurley, he would definitely come, but he wants $100 million. Like he is the Ricky Vaughn of coaches. He's gonna have his suit and tie on, and listen. He wants the money, believe that. But I think he would be great. But I think he would defense. Too. He would want defense 1,000%.
He's not too different than Tibbs,
right? That's my point.
I don't think it's going to be him though. It's not because he won't coach in the.
They're gonna get Malone.
No, he just want to coach in the NBA, and I prayed for him. I thought that too. I think it's Johnny Bryant. I think it's Johnny Bryant, and I could be wrong. Here's how I look at it. And early people say, "Oh, well, he wouldn't take the Lakers job. Why would he take the Knicks job?" There's a couple reasons. He's never been outside. He's never coached outside the Northeast. He wouldn't have to move. He lives in Connecticut. He wouldn't have to move. He could still sleep in his own bed, and coach the Knicks. So there's a difference between coaching in LA and coaching in New York. If you're a Northeast guy, that's a legendary basketball family, all the way from high school to the pros. They're like royalty in basketball, right? Yep. The Hurleys. So I think if there's a potential he could take it. Now, last year I didn't want him going to the Lakers because I think Hurley is what college basketball needs. They need that next great coach that's going to be at a school for 40 years, right? I don't even want him to come to the Knicks, really, but there's the selfish part of me as a Knicks fan. As a sports fan, I want him to stay there. As a selfish Knicks fan, I do want him to come to the Knicks. I think it's going to be Johnny Bryant, though. I think they fired Tibbs early enough to still make sure they had a shot at Johnny Bryant. I think that they've loved Johnny Bryant for he's been an assistant coach here. They wanted to keep him. I have a feeling it's going to be Johnny Bryant. I thought Mike Malone at first. I thought it made sense. Father was a longtime Knicks assistant. He's from Queens. It makes sense, but then you also got to think, why did he get fired halfway through the season in Denver? You know what I mean? There's got to be something else there. I see Johnny Boy saying, Jason. So it's a no for Jason Kidd. Yeah, I think Jason Kidd is an overrated player. or an overrated coach. I don't think he's that great.
Well, he's going to stay in Dallas at least one
Yeah, so
because he's got Cooper Flagg, who to me is overrated.
I agree. I think Jalen Harper is going to be the star of that draft.
I think he's going to be no better than Tyler Hansbrough.
I've been saying the same thing. I think the star in the draft coming up is Dylan Harper. I think he's going to be the star in the draft.
All right. Well, I know I don't think it's going to be Cooper, so there's that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I'm gonna tell you this: outside of Giannis, because I think Nigel sent something about Toronto. Outside of that, I hope you don't do that.
Well,
if you do that, it's really gonna shake up. It's really gonna shake up the NBA, like on the Eastern Conference, like where he goes. If he went to Indiana, Boston, New York, like Philly, it changes stuff. It really does.
Miami even because
they got a lot of.
Giannis came to the Knicks.
Well, here's what I think. I think either Cat. Well, here's the thing.
You have to gut your team to get him because Milwaukee's not just going to let him go. They don't want everybody.
I think
Brunson. It's going to be Giannis and Brunson.
Here's what. No, I don't think you're gonna have to gut as much because I think the NBA gets involved with some of these trades sometimes. And I think they're also good. I think if Giannis is like, listen, I've been a good soldier for you guys for years. I've worked you guys a chip. I really want to go see what this New York thing could be for me for the next phase of my career. Can you please make this happen? I did my end on for you guys. Can you do this? And I think they would, take back. It's got to be fair, but I don't think they can hold the Knicks ransom. The Knicks will have some picks. They do have some future picks that they can give up. I have a feeling it's going to be we're either not going next year. We're not going to have Cat or Bridges on this team, or both. And I think we're going to have either KD on this team or Giannis on this team. I think they're going to make a move for one of those guys, and I think one or both of those guys will be gone next year. The other guys.
I agree. I think Giannis is. Go ahead.
I also want to play devil's advocate on this. Could there be a sense? I'm not saying that I heard this. I'm just playing devil's advocate. The NBA, everybody talks, right? In the NBA. Front offices talk and players talk, and there's always that backroom recruiting that goes on with players and coaches and front office people. Could there have been maybe some, through a conversation, not one-on-one, but through people saying, "Hey, let them know this," and that maybe they said they found out that Giannis would be willing to come to the Knicks, but he didn't want to play under Thibodeau, and maybe they decided to make a move because they said, "Hey, we have a shot at Giannis."
Lord have mercy.
But Thibodeau might not be his cup of tea. Maybe we make that move and kind of see, where we go, and maybe we get a guy that we feel like Giannis would want to come play for. Maybe something like that. I'm not saying it wouldn't be the first time that something like this has happened in the league. So that you got to think, all right, could there be something else too? Because they made that move rather with Thibodeau. I and out of nowhere.
I think
not surprised by it, but I'm surprised.
I think Brunson.
What's that?
I think Brunson was mad at him. I think that came from Brunson. It
could have.
And I'm sure
he did stick up to him publicly. He did stick up for him publicly, though.
Yeah, he seemed to be pretty adamant.
He was pretty, in that post game thing. He was almost like when the guy mentioned that, do you think Tibbs is the guy? He's kind of almost like, shook off. Yeah, he was like, what are you talking about? Like, did you really ask that?
And y'all believe that? You ain't never.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying, but publicly he did stick up for his coach.
I saw Morris Date say, "Keep the change," and then as soon as he walked away, he said, "Jerome, go get my change." Okay, anything is possible, but that Giannis thing could absolutely players have.
This is a Celtic fan talking right now.
Yeah, but a lot of them do. Just admit Brunson can't be the star. I wouldn't say he can't be the star.
He can certainly
I wouldn't say that because his only knock is defense, right? But he can be supplemented where you don't have to be great at defense if you're astonishing offensively. Which the shots this dude be making, I'm like, geez, and
he puts the team on his back. He puts the team on his back.
He is a professional. I swear, for goodness, they should do a skit, just Brunson walking, and he just it's just hilarious because he sells it. But in the selling, he be making them floaters. He be making them things. Like, he ain't missing. He's actually hitting them. Like, it's insane. So I got to give him his props. Offensively, he's insane. I just think he has to be supplemented defensively if he's not going to put in the work to get better at it. That's all I'm saying. But then you don't actually want your offensive player to be your best defensive player because they could get fouls. And you know what I mean? Like, the last players to do that was like Kobe and Jordan. For whatever reason, they just got that ability. Mike was defensive player of the year, leading scorer. I mean, geez, it's like, what do you don't do? You know what I mean? But that's why he's who he is, right? But I think, go ahead.
No, you're good. My bad.
No, I was just going to say, but I think like with Brunson, he's not fully that. He's a little like he's small. You know what I mean? I bet he's tall. I mean, small. I'm 5'11", so I know he's taller than me. But I'm just meaning for NBA. So it's like there's give and take. I think he needs a defensive team around. The problem is those guys, when you have that, they have to be able to shoot. That's the thing for OKC. They got Lou Dort can hit a three. That changes everything. Like, could you imagine if Dennis Rodman had range? Like it's that kind of thing where you could play defense and get rebounds, but then hit a three? Like, come on. So that's what the Thunder have. And I think more teams are going to have to evolve that. Their players are going to have to start putting in the time free throws and 3-point shots. So that way, when you get fouled, they can't hack a Shaq you or whatever. Like
they did it to Mitchell Robinson.
Right. Yeah. That can't be there. Right. And then you got to be able to hit those shots. If you do that, now you're contending for a title because you're very hard to beat.
Is Cat's really bad at defense? I don't think Brunson is as bad as he gets credit for. I think he's not a good defensive player. I think he's not a good defensive player, but I don't think he's a defensive player. Cat's a horrible defensive player. And when you have those two guys, I agree. But
one, he's their offensive guy, so they want to get fouls. But because they know they can get, it's like Kyrie Irving targeting Steph because he knows he can cook them. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, his Achilles heel is his defense. Offensively, Steph is unstoppable. But defensively, like, well, you can get yours, but I can get mine too. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And
where it doesn't work is you can't have your top two guys be that way. You can get away with one. You can't cover for two.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think if I could
wait, I'm sorry, Woody. I gotta go. I'm late. I gotta go. I could only go to 10 and I stayed an extra 5 because I was like, let me just finish this. But guys, I apologize, but I gotta bounce. Everybody, we'll see you next Friday. Peace, love.
Later, bro.
UFC tomorrow is going down.
Let's go, Marab, Team Marab.
Oh, yeah. Without question. I think he beat Sugar Sean. Anyway, I digress. Peace.
Yes. Peace.
Later, bro. And I think Nigel's actually going to come back in a little bit too. So we got a little trade then.
Speaking about trades, I just want to be the defense attorney. I've never seen so many people unhappy with like a great season, and that's actually what we got from third team All NBA player, All-Star starter Karl Anthony Towns. We really treated him like he didn't just have a fantastic season. I don't get it.
You know what it is?
Talk to me.
He's when A-Rod came to the Yankees. A-Rod had glares, especially in the postseason. Which, listen, those glares became even more big and obvious in the postseason with Cat. I feel like we look at him like he just got here. So A-Rod was a fantastic ball player with the Yankees, but every little thing he did that wasn't great was magnified, right? I feel like that's what's happening with Cat. We're looking at it like Brunson's our Derek Jeter. He's the guy that wants to be here, took less money to be here, to go bring – and not look, just as we said it, look who's here. So I really do think that's kind of the case with that. Is I think we look at it where it's how Yankee fans used to love Derek Jeter. No matter how great A-Rod was, we kind of looked at it like, well, hey, it's Derek Jeter's team. If anything went wrong, it's one of the stars didn't show up. It was definitely A-Rod. I think that's how we're kind of looking at it as Knicks fans, whether we want to admit it or not. I think we only, in most cases, you only have enough love to really love one guy majorly, right? And that goes to Brunson. No matter what Cat does, he just got here. He's a hired gun to an extent because of that. Same way A-Rod was when he came to the Yankees. And I think that's how we look at it.
as a non-Yankee fan, I'm not sure if I can relate to that favorite child syndrome that you just laid out.
I hear what you're saying. It's just the only way I can really equate it, because you're right. We're not really treating him fairly for these accolades in the regular season.
No, so he had a bad playoffs? Are you serious? He literally just had 20 points in the fourth quarter. Like, what are you talking about?
He had a good game. That's what I'm saying.
He literally led.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, no matter how good he might have been, I still look at it like he didn't do it. He didn't do enough.
This sounds like a you issue.
It's 100%. That's what I'm trying to tell you. 100%.
Well,
that's what I'm saying, bro. I get it. Like, he's good. I just looked at it like, he could have been better. Because it can't be Brunson's fault. They can't blame Brunson.
I mean, well, you shouldn't have to blame Brunson. A really good play, like if we're trying to blame a player, a really nice place to place your blame is actually at Mikal Bridges. Who,
he was a shell of himself in the postseason.
I mean, I would say even all year. I mean, that disgusting shot, what happened to his shot form, all that type of stuff.
His mid-range was nowhere to be found.
I mean, he really had no range. He was even missing layups. I think he had one solid quarter against the Celtics that one time offensively. Played solid defense at times.
Yeah, he had that one fourth quarter that he was electric. I think it was against
the Celtics. That's what I'm saying, against the Celtics. Okay. But it was like 12 points. But overall he was bad. Like, no one was saying he was all this, all that. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns, all-star starter, third-team All-NBA, in the playoffs, led the league in double-doubles, only missed 4 foul shots his first 2 series combined. I mean, he was a catalyst for success. He had, way more good games than bad. But what was bad was the specifically pick and roll defense.
Horrendous.
He really wasn't, like if they posted him up, like it's not like that was an automatic bucket, and I think that's what he's been used to his career. Like when he came here, no, it's not like everyone was like, oh, here we go. Now we got a matador, just gonna let everybody come through, like, or a turnstile. No, like no one was really saying that. But that I think that's more on the coach, is that he's letting his guys get cooked up. Like once that happens one game, I don't know what they're doing that day in between. But if I'm Tom Thibodeau, I'm like, all right, guys, good game. Mitch, you are shooting nothing but foul shots all day. I don't care if you eat, but when you are awake, you are shooting foul shots up until the next game. I'm gonna take 3 people and we are just gonna run pick and rolls, pick and pops.
Can we just address Rudy right now? Rudy, we're talking about the Knicks right now because we're talking about their coach just getting fired, which is probably the biggest coach firing in the league in the last couple of years. Just from what they did, for how good of a coach he's been, and out of the blue it came. So Rudy, don't mind us for talking about the Knicks. We did talk. If you were here earlier, you'll see we talked about the finals a little bit earlier. Now we're talking about the coach firing for the Knicks. So Rudy, you want to go back and check it out? Go check it out. But we're talking about, and they're not bums. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're not bums. Obviously, you're not a Knicks fan, but just that's why we're talking about the Knicks right now, because it is a big story in sports this week and in the NBA this week. So, so chill out. All right. Pacers in 6. That's why I hate the Pacers, bro. That's why I hate the Pacers today.
Cat is getting way too much slack. You guys how many players come somewhere to a team and it's automatically, they automatically win a championship. Like even Shaq Diesel, when he went to the Heat, right? They didn't win that first year. LeBron going to the Heat didn't win that first year. Like, you get a great player. Those are players who I think we could all agree are better than Cat. So
Rudy, I was just mentioning that we did talk about the finals. You just missed it. That's all I'm saying. But to be fair, I am very sensitive. Apology accepted.
Yes. So I'll just
can I where did he go?
I don't know.
All right. So my thing is this:
Celso.
Celso in the house. I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, what,
is.
hey,
Yo,
what up, Celso? What up, man? How you been, bro?
Yo, my guy. It's been long.
Celso, we got to talk next week. We got to talk about something next week. So, he's doing his thing over there. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. You know what? You know what? Too? Can you imagine Leon Rose? Because I think a part of the critique that they get for the whole Bridges thing, the critique that Bridges gets, is the overpay for him, right? 5 first-round picks, and do you think support of Leon Rose that looks at now that Giannis wants to move? You think he's like, bro, you couldn't have said this last year, bro. Like you couldn't have said this last year because that would have been somewhere we could put our 5 picks. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So it's a little frustrating.
Well, if the Brooklyn Bridges, I didn't mean to do that, but the Nets version of Mikal Bridges was it Nick? Like I truly believe the team would be set. I know a lot of people, don't really agree, or like it's really a polarizing topic. Either the Knicks have a roster right now, or no, they're nowhere close. And Tibbs was carrying you guys. I personally believe that the Brooklyn version of Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Cat, Mitch, Deuce, OG, Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright. I think they can win. I truly believe that.
I agree.
But Brooklyn, Mikal wasn't there, right? So when we needed extra offense, it was super hard to come by. And Tibbs' rotations, I feel like, a lot of you guys are going to be surprised when you see a new coach, and I hope it's Johnny Bryant, come in and move the same pieces in a different way and produce different results. This happens all the time. You guys want to talk about Mark Jackson. Well, what happened with Mark Jackson? He had a team, developed those guys, then he was fired, and that team started winning championships. This is what happens time and time again. Same thing happened with Doug Collins. The Chicago Bulls got roasted for firing Doug Collins after they made the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're replacing him with who? Some random assistant named Phil Jackson? Okay, good luck with that. Immediately won the championship that next year. And the next 3 years after that. So I think this was a necessary evil. I do like the roster as is. I would not gut the team for Giannis. That's a huge mistake that we made.
I wouldn't either. I would not. Yeah, I would definitely not do that. I definitely do my due diligence and see if we can make that happen. Obviously,
yes.
Yeah, Rudy. I think they're gonna be up forever. So just the Cat Causeway will be there forever. So Nudge, my man.
What's up, you dum-dums?
You just missed Caleb, man. If anyone doesn't know any different, if they just started tuning into our show, they might think you guys are Superman and Clark Kent.
Who says we're not? Right now,
be.
listen, I'm coming in hot from an undisclosed location, which is just an hour outside of my own home. I'm visiting my best friend. I haven't seen him in a minute. So, I'm taking the time to make sure I show some love, not only to the pod, to my boys, Rudy and Gene, but to all y'all, all the fans, all the people, all the lovers of the Pop Off podcast. So sorry I couldn't be here with you. But I will say this before I go, because I can't stay long. 2 things. 1, did you guys talk about the Steelers and Rodgers thing?
No, we
started a little bit, but we didn't get into it yet. We teased it for later.
Great, so I appreciate that. So let's talk. Let's jump into that for a hot minute. This guy's got a $10 million. Finally signs a deal. 1 year, $10 million. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Week 1, we played the Jets.
Oh yeah,
that's correct.
Yes.
With Fields likely being QB1.
Oh no,
they already named him the starter.
Great.
Yeah.
And supposedly he's looked great in camp.
Right. This is gonna be wild. This might be not like Super Bowl ratings, but this is gonna be a very high rated game. For highly watched game, because both camps, the Steelers contingency, me, myself included, you guys, the Jets rabid fans, y'all are gonna be, we're gonna be there for it. We are gonna be there for it. And so week 1, I'm sure we'll all tune in. We'll all the chat will be blown up. Rodgers, not even a coming home party. Rodgers coming back party. Fields trying to prove something. So I think it's going to be a wild game. But I digress. 10 mil, 1 year. That's all we need. I said in our chat, I was like, listen, I'm going to pop some champagne. When I heard about it, I was like, I want to pop some champagne because you know what, man, I'm good with 1 year. We just need a Band-Aid right now. We just need to fix it right now because we know what the Steelers are. We know what the Steelers are. Don't rock the boat. Don't mess it up too bad. I'm looking at the roster right now, the depth chart right now. Guy, I mean, as long as Rodgers just plays average at very best, we got Warren back there as the backup. Well, now he's the starting running back, which is totally good by me. Metcalfe's still into Woods, Austin III, like Fairmouth is there too for the tight end position. Like we got players. So all we got to do is just maintain status quo in Steeler Nation. That's all we got to do.
To me, and Woody, correct me if I'm wrong. You know what he sounds like? It sounds like the Jet fans last year when we had a healthy Aaron Rodgers. We got the team. We just needed the quarterback. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers came in town, was a horrendous leader of the team. Somebody should have ripped that C right off his chest midway through the season because he'd proven to not be a captain at all. You have the ultimate me-first guy in all of sports, Nigel. So enjoy him.
Yeah, thanks.
I say the under-over to you're tired of his shenanigans is week 8. And then you're going to be like...
But dog, and that's fine. Like I said, you've already proved my point. All I need is for him to just help us out, get us through the season. That's literally it, man. And then we'll figure it out because during the season, then we can figure out what our quarterback options are. We can figure out all that kind of stuff. But as long as we have somebody back there who's kind of like tried and true in the respect that he's obviously had an illustrious career, but somebody that is serviceable, man. He can do the job. I'm not saying we're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that we're going to go to the Super Bowl. All I'm saying is that keep the fight in there. Make sure that players get the ball who need to get the ball. Make it serviceable. So we're not winning games, 13-10, or we're not going in and we're getting blown out 49-7. You know what I mean? Like that's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for.
What Gene doesn't understand is that the New York Jets organization is the biggest piece of dog shit that exists in professional sports. They are the bottom. They are below the barrel.
I've never said anything. I've never said we weren't.
So Rodgers comes in there. For all I know, that was Jordan Rodgers. But here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, he did have some good games. He was 7th in the entire NFL in touchdowns. He was also top 10 in the entire NFL in passing yards. I think Jets fans get it twisted. And, they're a big Kool-Aid bunch, right? They're like, fire Woody, Woody, sell the team. We need new change. And then they just give him the same old thing. And now they're happy because, they don't know how to think. They can't process anything other than failure. Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback. Aaron Rodgers should, in my opinion, be the New York Jets quarterback, but he's not.
No, he should not be.
He's playing a team. Or now he's playing with a team that has a great defense, has a better defense than he just had with the Jets. He has a great defense, a great coach, a well-run organization that just made the playoffs with Russell Wilson, right? I think they're on a nice path to at least attempt to do that again, right? Either, a little bit better, a little bit worse. I would say they would come within 2 games of their previous record last year. Whereas the Jets, we got Aaron Glenn's daycare. He's gotten rid of every single player over the age of 28, and they're all having a lot of fun.
I love the youth movement.
Yeah, okay, having a lot of fun. We're all learning how to walk, learning how to talk. But guess what? You're going to get punched in the mouth by T.J. Watt. You think T.J. Watt's going to love just sacking Justin Fields?
Let me see if he can catch him. Let's see if he can catch him. I'll tell you what. I know we got some guys that are going to be able to catch old man Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it with 2 top flight receivers on his team. He doesn't even have 2 top flight receivers.
He was doing work. He was putting up points.
How many games did we win last year? And don't
do you know that the defense was tremendous?
He was signed to his contract. It wasn't like he came in late because he wasn't signed yet. He was signed to his contract. He didn't even show up for camp on time because he was out in Egypt, wherever he was going. He was on a vacation. You know when you're supposed to be in camp. You know when he's a me first guy. He's a bad guy to have around your team, especially a young team that you're trying to change the culture of the core of, and not say, hey, it's about one guy. Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee you, Nigel, I guarantee you, By midseason, you're going to be done with the antics. You're going to be done with Aaron Rodgers. The way I've never seen somebody pass the blame more in my life in sports than Aaron Rodgers. Blaming guys, getting them traded the next week so we could bring in who was the lineman we brought in who was absolutely horrendous. He was worse than a turnstile. It's like he was translucent.
Billy Turner.
Billy Turner. Oh, we had to have Billy Turner. I'm telling you right now.
Like Aaron Rodgers is like, I'm not coming unless Billy's here.
Man, he wanted them. Dude, he gave the list of players he wanted. He was on that list. All I'm saying is this.
Hey, every player, like Tom Brady comes in, and you know what? Hey, we get former Patriots coming through. Like, that's what happened to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what happened to, the Rodgers.
There's a difference between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady's never been a me first guy. He's taken less money to get those Patriot teams.
Rodgers just took a pay cut.
Oh, he was still making crazy money, and he only did it so he can get the guys he wanted on the team.
Gene, how many games do you think the Steelers can win for that half of the season? If you're predicting half the season and then we're done with them, that's fine. How many games do you think the Steelers can win?
For the first time in Mike Tomlin's career, he'll have a losing record.
No, I'm asking you about the first half. With your prediction right now, you're saying that by half, we're going to be done with them. How many games do you think the Steelers?
I'm not even sure the schedule, so I can't tell you by game.
Okay, I'll tell you this because I'm kind of baiting you. I'll tell you this.
Yeah, I know you are.
For sure, we'll go 500 in the first half of the season. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's good enough for me, bro. I told you. Like, I'm not going to disagree with any of the me first stuff that you're saying. Nobody's going to disagree with that. I just need him to be serviceable for the season. That's it, man.
He won't be serviceable.
Rodgers. Gene is just hurt. He's hurt, about
You're getting swept by Baltimore. You're going to get swept by Cincy. You might even get swept by Cleveland, bro. You're going to lose.
That's not going to happen. Stop.
Yeah, none of that is happening.
That's egregious. Now you're just.
Listen,
he's literally that's Gene this whole time. That's what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Just speaking from his hurt emotions. For all we know, he's just reading the eulogy.
I feel like James has Stockholm syndrome with Aaron Rodgers. That he still wants him here. Did he beat you that bad that you think you loved it?
What are you talking about? He was a top 10.
Wait, right now. Wait. You'd rather run it back with Aaron Rodgers than see what you can get out of a young quarterback that's still developing, that still has
developing. Justin Fields. Put Rudy's comment on the screen, man. Justin Fields is ass, bro.
Come on.
What are you talking about?
I'm gonna make a bet with you right now, James Woody. I'm gonna make a bet with you right now.
Oh boy.
I'm not saying he's gonna be an All-Pro. I'm not saying that. This season, Justin Fields will be a Pro Bowler.
Stop. Okay, listen. I'm gonna
wait. Are you willing to make the bet? Because let's go back. We've been doing this pod for quite a few years now. Let's go back 2 or 3 years. Who once said when he was a joke, a left track in the mediocrity of the NFL? Who said Sam Darnold? Who said Sam Darnold was going to be a top flight quarterback eventually?
Did I laugh at that?
I feel like you all did. I feel like you all laughed at me when I said
I
it.
laughed at you every time you.
Did you see my post yesterday? I never.
Yesterday, Johnny come late. Woody come lately.
No, I'm saying my post. My post yesterday was about how we should have never gotten rid of Sam Darnold all the way back when they got rid of him in 2021. I've never said a crossword about Sam Darnold.
He was a punchline in the NFL for years. I was the one that stuck by. He really should send me a thank you card because I was the one that was standing by. I was the only one standing by his side.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I was more loyal than Mrs. Darnold.
You're just so wrapped up in your emotions. You can't even see the reality of what's going on. Because I was there. I never said a crossword about Sam Darnold in my
Justin
life.
Fields, Pro Bowler.
Great. Write it. Let's write it down.
Write it down. James Woody. It's June 6th.
Yeah. Put in the doc.
My father, he's in heaven today. His birthday is today. I think he would have been like 96 or something. No, I think he'd be 100 today. I think he'd be 100 today.
Oh.
So I think he would have been, right? Because he's born in 25. So yeah, so he would have been 100 today. All
right, listen. I gotta bounce, but I want to say one more thing just before I leave.
Yes.
Thank you, good people, for sticking with us and hanging tight with the pop, watching Gene and Goody go toe to toe. This has been very entertaining for me. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Not Just Cap Corner real quick because you guys have seen this hat, but you haven't seen this alt version. because I'm talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs that is happening right now. Not even the playoffs. The fight for Lord Stanley is happening right now. The Edmonton Oilers are up 1-0 against the Florida Panthers. That is happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you are not a hockey fan, just like I am not, it has been a hell of a sports game. It has been very entertaining. Just check it out. I mean, it's long, but just check it out, man. You can do other things. You can play some vids or like read a book or do whatever you got to do. But I'm telling you, man, watch the Stanley Cup. So here you go. You got the Todd McFarlane designed Edmonton Oilers, but now you have the Edmonton Oilers colorway with the orange and the navy blue. And this is just a plain Jane, which means it just has no side patches. Obviously, it has a tone-on-tone new era. Boom, you got that nice NHL crest at the back there. Man, that is a beaut. And you got the gray UV with the black guts. Oh, my goodness. Love this hat. Wearing it in support. That's all I got, man. That's all I got. Guys, have a blessed day. I got to enjoy this sunshine and whatnot. Like I said, I got to hang out with my best friend. Sometimes we got to do that.
There you go. It is Toronto, by the way. You don't get many of those sunny, beautiful days.
We lap it up over here. It is ridiculous. He's got a pool, so I'm gonna go hit that pool right now.
Enjoy, my man.
Peace and love. Sorry to leave you guys so short, but we'll talk.
Yes, sir. Be good.
All right, peaceful.
Do your thing.
Rudy, I'm not saying anything right now. I don't know who you're talking about. You talking about Fields or are you talking about Darnold? Who are you talking about as a starter?
Clearly, Justin Fields.
I think Justin Fields will be just fine. I think he's actually going to be. I think we're actually going to resurrect his career.
Rudy, do you see how silly New York fans can be sometimes?
You're
convincing themselves these ridiculous things. These ridiculous things.
Well, all right, so let's get into another topic because I know one of the things we want to talk about is, and we'll get into some NBA again because we do have some other NBA stuff, but there's a couple of there's another NFL topic I do want to discuss is. Who is the quarterback that's going to start week one? Who's the first week one starter that you think will be benched in the regular season?
Oh, wow. Damn. That's a question.
You can think of the obvious ones who drafted a rookie quarterback that they might not start day one. So you can go there, but because you could easily say Russell Wilson sounds like that guy, right? But let's let it go there. Who else?
Hey,
chill. You would love yourself some Russell Wilson.
He was the playoff QB last year. My God, you're like Aaron Glenn. You just hate old people. That's what it is.
Yeah, I do. I'm ageist.
Yes, and we'll see how that turns out for your terrible football franchise. Our terrible football franchise.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, me and Rudy root for a lot of the same teams, but we disagree on pretty much everything every single time. Other than the fact that we both love the Knicks, other than the fact that we both love the Jets, everything else we disagree on. Especially when it comes to the Knicks and the Jets and how they're run and their players, we disagree on all that. We just happen to, at the end of the day, still love the same teams.
We do both love Jalen Brunson, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So to answer your question, the first person I thought about was actually Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Like, that's a meritocracy. Yeah. We'll see, who wins that. But the Browns, that's another one. But I want to say the Browns, I don't know how much pressure there is on them to compete. I feel like they might just, do whatever they want. But the Colts, they want to actually win. They want to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
So,
and why can't they?
Say that again.
I mean, and why can't they? There's a good team around the quarterback, whoever it's going to be.
Exactly. So that's what. Yeah. Why can't they? So I think that is probably the team where there's the most pressure. Okay, you got to perform. I'm trying to think around the league of any other combination of that, like a close 1-2 and a pressure to perform. And I'm not seeing it. I don't know who Geno's backup is in Las Vegas. We already know our Sam Darnold will play well. Who?
Is Aiden McConnell still? Could it be him?
Oh, it could be. It could be, actually.
I'll tell you what, let me see. I'll look up the Las Vegas Raiders depth chart.
You grew up watching the Knicks and the Bulls stomping all over. God damn. Are you a Chicago fan? Big Bears fan? You hyped on Ben Johnson? Well,
it sounds like he just hates the Knicks.
It does sound like that. It really does, because you've been hyping up the Pacers, the Bulls. The Heat probably up next. Yeah, I think without wasting. Oh, you know who's actually also yeah, but I don't think he would be benched. So never mind. I was gonna say Tua is a possibility, but yeah, give me Anthony Richardson.
It is Aiden O'Connell, by the way.
But Pete Carroll's there, so the devil he knows is Geno. So
yeah,
he has a leg up there. Yeah, so that's my final answer is Anthony Richardson. Close second is whatever is happening in Cleveland.
I think it's going to be Anthony Richardson as well. But my close second is different. I'm not going to be completely surprised if Shador starts the season as the starter. I'm in Cleveland. I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm just not fully convinced that they don't plan on already starting him. He's played really well in camp.
Yes.
From everything you see. So I'm not so sure that's going to be the case. I do think it's going to be Russell Wilson though, taking a seat. I just don't. I just think that they want to get the Jackson Dart thing situated and started, set up. I think Russell Wilson is going to be there for only a limited amount of time. And I will say this. I do think Aaron Rodgers won't finish the season as the Steelers starting quarterback, but not because they'll bench him for Mason Rudolph. I don't think he'll survive the season. I think he'll get injured midway through the year anyway. And he won't be able to continue.
Is that what you think, or is that what you want?
No, I never wish anybody to get hurt.
That's wrong.
Not out loud, at least. But no, I just think that listen. I don't think he has it in him, man. To the age.
Did you see his last game this past season? Did you see that game?
Come on. We're really talking about what he did with the Jets this year. They won 5 games. You remember that, right? They won 5 games.
Yeah, they didn't have a coach for 10 games.
They had a coach.
No, they didn't. They had a dude who I guess has a really close relationship with his son out here making prank calls. That's what they had. They didn't have.
He's an indie guy.
Oh,
so I'd like to know, Rudy, what's your take on the whole thing with Anthony Richardson? Because he's actually going to miss significant time right now. They didn't even say that when he'll even be back. He might not even start the season as the starter just because he might not be back. Because it's the same shoulder he had surgery on. So, yeah, I do, and I hear what you're saying with Geno and Pete Carroll. But I also do think that I have a feeling that Geno Smith is not going to live out that contract. Not that anybody ever lives out their contracts nowadays, but I don't believe he will be. I don't believe he will be a guy they're going to be able to that's going to live up to his contract. I guess I should say.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about year, like because you said, obviously who's the first. Like year one, you're trying to establish culture. Like that's exactly who you want. Actually, as your QB is somebody who who you can trust. How they think. How they operate. Type deal. Like so, that's why I would say like year one, like he's probably good. But it's a 3-year deal, right? Like I don't think.
Yeah, 3-year extension.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them have somebody else next year. Or,
what about Dak?
That division just got real good out of the.
What about Dak getting benched? It could be. It could happen this year. New coach
for who? For who did they
get?
Not
Joe Milton. Joe Milton.
That's who it was. Yes.
Would you be surprised that if they're having a bad year at one point they say, you know what? Let's just throw Joe Milton in there, see what he's got.
If they're having a bad year, fine. But I mean, bro, they got CD. Pickens, they always got a solid white boy tight end. I think the one now is it Shoemaker or Blake Jarwin? One of those, maybe both of them actually.
I think is Ferguson still
no Ferguson. He's definitely not there.
All right.
But yeah, okay. Schultz is in Houston.
Yeah.
I think it's Jarwin, or maybe I'm bugging. Maybe Ferguson is there and Jarwin's not. But I would say for this, I think the Cowboys are going to be good. I think they're going to be a good team. I think people, overreact sometimes to, they were injured last year, all that type of stuff.
No, he's not. He's still in the Cowboys, Ferguson.
He is.
Yeah, he's in his third year or something like that, I think, right? Former Wisconsin Badger.
You think Rudy thinks Anthony Richardson's pretty much done for? That stinks because he was an immense talent. I think, he will be the cautionary tale of every first round or whatever round QB doesn't have to start. Like they don't have to start. Like
Mahomes didn't start, and he's the best quarterback on the planet right now.
Exactly. Like that's what you need to look at. Who just won the Super Bowl? It was Jalen Hurts who didn't start. So, there's a very strong argument for not starting rookie QBs, and that's actually what I wanted. I know you hate the era that Rodgers breathes, but that was my whole plan all along, was to draft a QB and then have them sit behind Rodgers while, now we retained Devontae because they blew up the whole team. I think they had a good team that someone could have came in here and had a nice plan to be successful now and develop a QB for the future, but they blew all that up and is now wasting their time on Justin Fields.
Johnny boy, it's a good question. I don't think it's as easy as an answer as Woody would say, because Woody's probably Woody has no.
It's not even Dak. Woody it's not even close.
Dak's got a ton of weapons, so he should not have a problem. Like I mentioned before about could he be the guy that maybe gets benched early or gets benched at one point. But I'm looking at it as a new coach. Maybe they realize they want to move on from Dak and they say, hey, let's just throw Milton in there. So, but having said that, I think Fields is going to be good this year. I really do think to make the Pro Bowl, you got to be like a top 10 quarterback, right?
No,
because because think about it. So many people end up not playing in it, and then they bring on more guys. So by the end of
Tyler Huntley was a QB just like 4 years ago. Even just someone equally ridiculous was Drake May was just a Pro Bowl.
I think so. Again, I'm not saying he's going to have an elite season, Justin Fields. I think we'll see enough in him that he'll be back the following year, and I do think he'll make the Pro Bowl. I think he's going to have a good season.
Well, we will revisit this in Week 8 when he plays like Justin Fields. Everyone's surprised.
Oh God, Johnny boy, 100%, 100%, without any doubt. I agree.
At what? Fields better.
Fields is greater than Rodgers.
Yeah, better than Aaron Rodgers at what? Being black? Like, what is he better at?
I mean, I don't think Rodgers has ever tried to be black, so we don't know.
That's true. That's true.
At least not in public. He's never did blackface that I've ever seen. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, it seems like a clean sweep for Rodgers. I guess technically like scrambling, right? But Rodgers is better at literally everything. Can read a defense, and from Fields is not good. It's like kind of crazy to me how badly you guys delude yourselves into blindly supporting whatever dumb, terrible decisions this franchise makes.
I honestly don't. I just have a good feeling this year, bro. I didn't trust when we first got Aaron Rodgers. I didn't want him. I mean, if you remember correctly, before we even had him, he wasn't the guy I wanted. If you guys remember, I didn't want him. I wanted to go, and not that it would have been the right move. I just thought he had more years left. Derek Carr. Just because I thought he had more time left. Obviously, he doesn't. But
that's crazy. Can you believe that he's retired?
Right?
And Rodgers is still playing.
But I just thought, listen, going into at that point in their careers, I wanted a guy that wasn't going to be just a Band-Aid, and I didn't know how much Rodgers had left. Carr had played decently recently, and he still had a lot more time to go. Maybe just needed a change of scenery. So that's really why I wanted to go with Carr. And I didn't even think Carr would have been the answer. I just like that answer better than the Rodgers answer. When we got Aaron Rodgers, I said, okay, I'm in. Because what am I supposed to do? I'm going to be watching the guy all season, right? With Fields going into this postseason, I kind of wanted Fields. I kind of said, you know what? I'd like now to be finally the team that resurrects another team's bad quarterback. It's always us, right? It's Geno Smith. It's Sam Darnold. I want to now be the team that fixed another team's bad quarterback pick. And I think Fields still has an immense amount of talent. He just needs to put it all together. And I'm hoping that here he can do that. I have a feeling that Aaron Glenn's going to be good. There's something about him I like. I wasn't sure if I was gonna. And I'm not saying it because, well, he's my coach, so I got to deal with it. There's just something about him I like. He always has and you're gonna read too much into this, and you're gonna kill me for it. And I'm not comparing him to anybody. So just let me finish my thought first. I'm not saying he's Bill Parcells. Not saying that. There's something there's something about him playing for Bill Parcells, being a Bill Parcells guy, and now being a coach and a very good, accomplished defensive coordinator coach. And now becoming a head coach. I like to think that he took some of those things that he learned from Bill Parcells, watching him, studying him, and being a Bill Parcells guy to now being a coach. And I want to see that through. I want to see if because he was a Bill Parcells guy, he could be a guy that now that he's a coach can do some great things. So I'm hopeful for like reasons like that. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised, Johnny Boy. I would just be surprised if Lazard doesn't get there because they need another receiver. They only have DK. They traded away Pickens.
Calvin Austin was having a pretty good season. I know he's obviously not, on the Wheaties box, but like he is a good receiver. Like if he was a Jet, he would probably be the second best receiver on the Jets right now.
No, come on. That's unfair.
Third? Lazard. Like, what? He's not like Josh Reynolds is not better than Calvin Austin.
No. Well, I don't think either of them that great.
That's my whole point. Is that
I can't sit here and say Austin is better than Reynolds. I can't say that.
I can. And
I can't
and Austin is like an ascending, like he's a young ascending player.
Well, that'll give you. I'm saying at this point, I don't know. I think it's fair. I haven't seen Austin play any better than Reynolds has played in his past.
What do you mean? That's what I don't think you followed. Like you've seen Austin. Like Austin had better numbers last year.
All right, but all right. Yeah, well, Reynolds. All right, so maybe they're.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But like one's descending as the other's ascending. To be honest with you, I don't really think much of Josh Reynolds anyway. I think Lazard, if he stays on the Jets, is going to have a better season than Reynolds. I think Lazard is going to be the guy that's going to be our number 2. So I'm not really concerned with Josh Reynolds. I think Lazard is better than Austin.
I gotta say, I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said just now. Yes, I don't care at all about Reynolds. I do think Lazard's the second best receiver.
Yeah, I don't think they signed Reynolds to be like the number 2 at all.
Yeah, some people do because they hate Lazard. But
Lazard bounced back last year in a great way. He took a huge pay cut to stay here. What do you think? Like 75% of his contract to stay?
Yeah.
Good with me. That's good with me.
Yeah, I agree. In what order? This is gonna sound crazy.
Go ahead, say it.
But the power of coaching and talent. Give me the Bills, obviously, by quite a large margin.
Yeah.
The Patriots bouncing back under Mike Vrabel. Drake May is a really good quarterback, and now they've surrounded him with talent. The defense will be better. The Dolphins, who are just in disarray. I've been souring on Mike McDaniel as a coach. I think he is, the perfect OC, but not a HC. Okay, Agreed. OC. And then but they have talent, but it's just, he's not a head coach. And, every star is upset besides Tua, who is concussed. And then, the Jets just below the bottom. They are literally outside the barrel. The barrel.
You're going to be so happy at the end of the season because you have no expectations for the season. So by the end of this year, Woody, you're going to be so happy because you'll be like, you know what? They've exceeded expectations.
4-12.
Bills are number one. Bills are number one. Bills are number one. The Jets will finish in second. The Jets will make the playoffs.
Second.
Hold on. The Jets will make the playoffs. If they don't, they're just missing the playoffs, and you can see the ascension. But they will be good this year. They will finish in second place. In third place, I have the Patriots. I think I have yet to see Stephon Diggs be a good receiver for his quarterbacks. He's the guy that he couldn't get along with Josh Allen, the MVP last year.
He was good with Josh Allen for like 4 years.
I don't know. He wasn't at the end. Listen.
Luckily,
hold on.
This is the beginning.
Hold on. Okay. I don't think that I think there's going to come a point where he's going to be bullying Drake May a little bit. I think that's not going to be as great of a situation as Patriot fans hoped. They'll be okay. They'll be decent. They have a great coach. I don't think they're there yet. And I do think this is the year that Miami kind of disintegrates. Same thing what you're saying. I don't think their coach is a great head coach. He's eccentric. He's a fun guy to listen to talk sometimes. Sometimes I wonder if he would just belt out a note because he already looks like Mark Anthony. Can he sing like him? But you're right. I also see that team disintegrating a little bit. You see a lot of unhappy people in Miami right now, wanting to get traded possibly. There's a lot of rumors that Tyreek Hill isn't happy and Tua is constantly, is he going to get hurt this year? There's a lot of things that I think is gonna cause some internal combustion in Miami. I don't think it's gonna be a good season for Miami. So I do have this. So I have the Jets coming in second, Bills in third. I'm sorry, Bills in first, Jets in second, Patriots in third, and Dolphins in last. I think we're going to see the Dolphins kind of implode a little bit this year, and I think you're going to see the Jets start taking flight, as you guys say with the other show, take flight. I think they're going to ascend a little bit this year. They're still a team. They're still making that team in progress. I think you're going to see the defense be a little better this year because I think you're going to see some guys that had down years last year. I think Sauce is a bounce back year. Pro Football Focus still has him rated as the number one corner. I think they're looking at it as like last year was a fluke. He's going to fix it. So I do like some of the stuff they got. I like what they did in the draft. Their offensive line is going to be totally unrecognizable compared to last year. I like the same people. Nah, but they're going to play. Well, no, it's not completely the same people.
There's one Armand Membu. It's the one difference.
Okay, and you're gonna have Fashanu for the whole season, play the whole season. You're gonna have you might even have a new center and move Tippmann over a little, Tippmann over to one of the other guys if they're not playing well. I think they're way better than they were last year. I think they're gonna be a top 10 offensive line this year. Not saying top offensive line. I think they could be a top 10.
I heard the number. They could be top 10. I mean, obviously, the offensive line moving forward is one of the strongest units they have, right?
Yes.
They're the only team in the NFL to draft 3 first-round offensive linemen, and they drafted 4. Or sorry, not first.
No, Tippmann was the second.
First and second round, but still. Even with the second round, that was the stat that I heard. That no team had even done 3, and now they have 4. So I mean, for the years to come, they should. I'm expecting in 2 years for them to be the number 1 offensive line.
And I think Mason Taylor's gonna be a fantastic target for Fields. I like everything I've seen, everything I've heard about him in camp, and I don't really put a lot of stock into camps. Everybody looks good in camp, right? But I like the kid coming out of college too. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, second generation,
his father played in New York. His father was a Jet.
I think he will be a tremendous target for whichever QB is on the team next year. For real.
It'll be Fields for the next 10 years, bro.
Fields for the next 10 years. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's a nightmare.
But all right, so let's also talk. I have this battle with these young kids all the time, bro. And I don't know. You know what? You're a little younger than me, but you're not as young as these young punks. I'm curious, bro. Let's talk a little. Let's go back to the NBA a little bit. Which is the better era of? Was it the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, or now? No, Rudy, I don't know him personally. I've heard of him. I read his book, but no, I don't know him.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't know him personally. Yes, I have read his book. To answer your question, the best era of basketball. I'm gonna go with the 2000s, early 2000s, and here's
Really?
why. I think for people who like today's game, the best part of today's game is the parity. Like right now, like we're about to get our, however, like fifth, is this the fifth straight unique champion, right? Like because it was the Bucks, Nuggets, Celtics. Now one of these guys before the Bucks, was it a different? Well, I guess obviously it had to be different.
Yeah.
Like the Warriors. So the parity. I think that's a huge reason why kids today are like, oh yeah, we're living now. In the 80s, I think the biggest thing was the intensity and the strategy of the game of how we are going to get the ball in the basket, how we're going to stop the ball from getting into the basket. You saw players get elbowed. You saw that type of stuff. But then you saw coaches be creative with their play sets. You saw the triangle offense. You saw the running gun. So you take the best, right, of today. You take the best. Where do I feel like that was the best total? Give me the early 2000s, because although in the 90s, obviously, times were popping, I mean, Michael Jordan, if he didn't play baseball, my man would have 8 straight championships. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just domination. And so many people of that era, it sucks. Like, you will get kids today that's like Pascal Siakam is better all time than Charles Barkley, because, Siakam, he got a ring. Now he's Eastern Conference player final, whatever the fuck that award is called. And Charles has no rings. But like, anybody who was alive at that time would be the first to tell you he's one of the best to ever play the game. Karl Malone, right up there. John Stockton getting no respect. People who probably got Halliburton over Stockton all time because of Jordan's dominance. So in 2000s, there wasn't, like, obviously the Lakers had a three-peat. The Spurs were really good. But there were enough rings to go around where they don't get the disrespect that a lot of, like the 90s, I get all, plumbers this, plumbers that, right? They don't respect a guy like Vernon Maxwell or something like that. But there's a lot less disrespect of the early 2000s because a lot of those guys ended up with a lot of the measuring sticks that people use today.
I'm going to go with the 90s. And I hear guys today, these young kids, right? Or we said, oh, it's today because the athletes, they're so athletic. They Jordan couldn't do the thing that, that people could do today. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I say all the time is, could you imagine Jordan? He played in an era when you would damn near get tackled trying to drive the lane. Could you imagine? The rules now are to be able to show more offense, allows the offensive players, more leeway to be good offensively. The spacing on the court, it allows better spacing on the court. Could you imagine Michael Jordan playing with the spacing that's allowed to play with today? With how little he used to get fouled all the time back then. Could you imagine if the stuff that wasn't even called fouls then, and he used to go to the line a lot? Could you imagine him now with all this, with everything that's called a foul now? He would average 45 points a game. So everyone always wants to, it's not to turn into the LeBron versus Jordan thing, but for the eras though, you remember those Knicks teams in the 90s, right? I mean, they were basically pretty much linebackers, man, that could shoot the ball. Like you got hit trying to drive the lane against them, and that's just them. But there was a lot of teams that like that. Defense was just allowed to be defense back then. Now it's the rules are created for there to be better spacing on the floor, for people to get better shots off, because they want an offensive game. If you could have took some of those guys from yesteryear in the 90s and allow them to play like that, like how they play today, Jordan would have put up 45 points a game. So it's one of these things where I can't see how you can sit here and tell me, oh, well, they're doing things now. They're scoring, guys can shoot better now. No, they're able to shoot better now. They have clearer paths to the basket now. They have less people in their face now. That's why they're able to make these 3-point buckets the way they can, because you can't touch anybody. They're able to get a better shot off. You couldn't get those shots off in the 80s, 80s and 90s. And I think we started seeing that go down a little bit in the 2000s and into now. I'm not saying these guys today don't have a good brand of basketball, but it is by no stretch of the imagination. And I'm not just saying because I'm an old head. I'm not saying for that reason, but it is nowhere as tough on defenses as it was back then, or tough on offenses as it was back then.
Yeah, I mean, it was inarguably more physical. I do think
Rudy, 100%, and he'd hit 38 of them. So you know what I mean?
The early 2000s, to me, I think really when the Miami Heat 3 party came, I felt like the turn, and then Adam Silver had just progressively made it worse and worse with the league. But early 2000s, I feel like you did get a lot of that intensity, a lot of that physicality. Allen Iverson was getting thrown around. Shaq was doing a lot of throwing.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, Allen Iverson. Shout out. So yeah, I think as a fan, like that's where I would say. I mean, the 90s as well. I mean, it's all, the only reason why I disqualify, or I said the 2000s over the 90s, is because if we were like judging, like again as a fan, you had more chances to win, more people got shine, as opposed to everyone just getting swallowed. Like that's what these kids literally think. It was Jordan and nobody else. Like that's what they think.
Yeah,
but they don't understand that the reason why it's like that was because he was so dominant. It's not like there weren't other great players. It was that he was better than
there's guys that we forget about now that are just random names that if you were back then, you knew how good they were. And we've seen them, like even Reggie Miller, talking about Reggie Miller, we all know how great he was because we lived through it. I feel like he doesn't get the credit he should for being the shooter he was back then. Like I said, when you couldn't get off shots the way you wanted to. But there's other guys that kids today probably never even heard of that we knew back then that were like, no, that guy was real deal, man. Like
Kevin Johnson.
I was literally going to say Kevin Johnson from the Suns. Do you remember Kevin Johnson? Kevin Johnson was one of the best point guards in the league back then. And I guarantee you, if you would have polled 120 to 22-year-olds today, they would have 98% of them would have no idea who he is.
Yes, exactly. So that is
so crazy that you said Kevin Johnson. That's the exact name I was thinking of, bro. It's the exact name I was thinking of. You know what I mean? Would we know Charles Barkley if he wasn't on TV every day?
Yeah,
we would know. But we would know. But I'm saying with this generation,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think they would. That's my whole point. And there's tons, like the league was literally full of guys like that.
Clyde Drexler, another guy.
Clyde Drexler, yes. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like for me, I'm like, it sucks that's the knock, but they don't understand because you can't do that with LeBron's era because Curry has just as many rings. KD dominated the score, right? There's so many guys that are coming out of that era, but Jordan truly was, the star among stars. Clyde Drexler's, the Kevin Johnsons, Mitch Richmond, all these guys. And Jordan he is the GOAT
for sure. So real quick, we won't go into a whole thing of it. Just yes or no. Do you like it? Yes or no? All-Star Game 2026, World versus the USA.
Fuck no.
Hate it. Tied to the gimmicks. You want to put something on it to make it more defensively. Let them play with the rules they used to play like in the 90s. I would love to see that. Let them play hard like that. I'm tired of gimmicks, man. And NHL does it, and NBA does it all the time. I'm done with the gimmicks. Just play ball. Also, Real quick, because we went crazy one. Oh, Rudy the Boxer, Alonzo Mourning, Grant Hill. Another couple of guys.
Great players. Great players.
My real quick, so the rumors that are making, I think Shams put it out that the Knicks were close to getting Kevin Durant during the offseason, during the trading deadline. How would you felt about that?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. He definitely could have provided some additional scoring
And defense. He still plays defense.
He does still play defense. Yeah. So let me not disrespect him, but I guess with the Knicks, and this is another huge reason why I'm so happy to see Tibbs gone, is that like every time you watch the Knicks, their opponent scores way easier than them. Way easier. Now, KD, here's the thing about KD. Obviously he's been a lot of places.
Yeah.
And that's only one when he joined an existing dynasty.
Yeah.
I think the thing with KD is that you cannot, like, he can't be, the
guy.
Yeah, exactly. He cannot be the guy. He is probably the best Robin of literally of all time. Like, if you see him like in the Olympic Games where everybody's a star, or like, an all-star game where everybody's a star, he's such a pure hooper, right? Like he can just put up 50 like nothing. Yeah. But when you count on him to be that leader in the locker room, day in, day out, hype up the team,
he's too soft.
I don't even think he cares.
I don't mean physically. I think he's too soft mentally. He's too sensitive. He's he's just not a leader. And coming to the Knicks, he wouldn't have to be.
Exactly.
He could just play. I think that's one of the reasons why he might want to come to the Knicks if he does, is because you know what? He's like, Brunson's the guy. I just got to score my points and stop it from scoring on me, and I'm good. And you know what? I'll probably be the leading scorer on the team because that's what I do. He still can hit shots. He can still stop people on defense. He would pretty much be a perfect fit. All these other places he went to, you're right. He went as the guy. That's why it didn't work in Brooklyn. It's why it's not working in Phoenix. But it's also why it would work in New York, because he doesn't need to be the guy.
Yeah. So I'm with it. But stop hating on my guy Cat, man. All right, if that's not in addition, or that's not instead of Cat, that's in addition to. His first year was a great first year as a Knick, and I think it can only be better from here.
Real quick too, because I know we went real long today, so we'll get out of here in a minute. But real quick, just because I saw him say that hold on, let me pull up his comment. Rudy, thanks for being so active in the chat there. We appreciate you sticking around. Knicks need dogs, KD, and you meant to say KD is a beta. I think that's kind of what we're saying is he can come here and be a beta. I wouldn't want him to come here to be an alpha. I want him as a beta here because he'll still do what you need to win. He'll still score your buckets and he'll still stop people on defense. And as long as he's not coming with this attitude of I'm the alpha and you don't have that in you, let him come and be a beta. That's what we need. We need someone to come here and not try to take some of that shine away from Brunson. Brunson is the unequivocal leader of this team. We don't need a civil war in the locker room. So I need him to come here and just score buckets, not worrying about being the guy that they go to talk to get press from as well. So I don't know. I think he'd actually be a good fit.
Yeah, I would agree. Is Cat also a beta male? Yeah. But like I said, we have dogs. Brunson's a dog.
Hart.
OG, Hart. They are the dogs. They are the lifeblood. They are the ones active in the speeches. And I think that's what that's what we're saying. In Brooklyn, there was KD. What should we do? Right? He's probably just looking around like
I don't know.
But
I don't know. Shoot the ball, I guess.
But like Josh Hart, like that's someone who's going to speak up. Jalen Brunson, somebody speaking up. OG, like he's quiet, like he leads with his energy. So when you're Cat or when you're KD in that scenario, all you got to do is what got you to the dance. And when that's all you focus on, that's how you get Cat scoring 60 points. That's how you get KD scoring 60 points. They both have done that. Like that's, those are numbers that they've actually hit before in their careers because that was the situation they were put in. That is the beauty of roster construction. And I think the Knicks have done a fantastic job. They just need a coach who can use the roster. To not play Landry Shamet until Game 3 of the Pacers series, that should be a criminal offense.
It's inexcusable.
It really is.
Javi, of our show, Rookies of the Year on the channel, says, "How do you feel about the Knicks partying after getting bounced by the Pacers?" And you know what? What are they supposed to? It wasn't like the next day. It was a few days later. Like they weren't really partying. They just went out together as a team to kind of lick their wounds a little bit. They weren't out there like popping bottles and doing. I think they went to a comedy club at one point. Like they're just living their lives, man, trying to get closer as a team. I have no problem with what they did. They weren't celebrating. Like, I didn't see that. I don't know if anybody else did.
I mean, what do you expect them to, we lost to the Pacers, we all gonna, cry. Like, the way I see it, they did shock the world beating the Celtics. It did, suck to see them, mess up this chance to get to the finals, but they, what actually is super important to me is that moving forward, you have a core of players, and you like to see, or I liked seeing those pictures and seeing that, okay, the core is intact, because immediately the next day we saw the, they didn't like Cat. Ooh, they didn't like Tibbs. Some people had problem with Rick Brunson, right? People are saying all these different things, and all those things could fracture a locker room pretty easily, actually. So to see them all together, having a good time, chilling, just shows me that the chemistry is intact and we're ready, because this is a unit who I personally would say for, 4 years, there's a window here and you can capitalize.
Javi, we do got to go. We went way long, but I will say one thing. I'm sure that you guys aren't celebrating, but you know what? But I'm sure there's somewhere draped in green on 4 wheels. We got our friend Tatum popping wheelies in his little cart. So, Woody, man, we went a little bit longer than we normally do. We had no Nigel really to steer the ship, and so I got to, I blame myself, and I guess Nigel too, because he was need to steer the ship. My man, words of the weekend.
I just want to give a special shout out to Rudy. It was his first time seeing the pop off. This is actually very what is the word? Not ordinary.
Because it's usually always 4 of us or 3 of us at minimum.
Yes.
So we're usually, we're usually all 4 here. But
we're usually 4 here, 4 all at once, not trading somebody for somebody else. So that was a very interesting episode for your debut, but I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you stayed the whole way through. It was a pleasure to have you. Pleasure to talk with you. Javi, I can't say as much. I know, you out here doing your thing for the network, but, Boston fans, you already know. You already know how we feel about you.
I hate
I may not agree with Gene, all right, all the time or almost any of the time, but we are still in the same camp.
Orange and blue.
Right? Yes, the orange and blue. So, word for the weekend, just, enjoy the sun if you have it, right? It's 92 degrees down here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So just enjoy the sun if you have it. And if you don't, it sucks to be you.
Guys, make sure you tune in. Check out all the rest of the shows too on the channel. We got Rookies of the Year, we got Prop Stars, and we have Sports Rants with Abby and friends. So guys, make sure you check everybody else out. There's some new stuff coming up too, so just keep your eyes open. Put the alarms or the bell on the thing so you can always know we got something popping up. But have a great today, guys. Better tomorrow, and we'll see you next time. And end stream.